Hello and welcome to this special program. I'm Julia Yershova from the Ukrainian language channel Slava TV. Joining me today are my colleagues Masha Makarova of WOTAK, which broadcasts in Russian, and Sergei Pilesa from the Belarusian language team BELSAT. Together, our three newsrooms from TVP World Services, part of Polish public broadcaster TVP. And today we have a very special guest, Marta Kos, European Union Commissioner for Enlargement. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us. And let me start our conversation by asking you, the Ukrainian Parliament, the Verkhovna Rada, passed the law which reduces the power of two key anti-corruptional bodies. What do you think about it?
I'm very much concerned about it because fighting anti-corruption through the independent agencies is very important. It's the basics of the whole enlargement process. Actually, it's the basics of also the member states. So we are now evaluating. The first evaluations are not positive in the sense of how the agencies which should take care about the corruption in Ukraine will work in the future. So we are following this and of course this is one of the topics we will have also to discuss in the future. Yesterday I was talking with the new Prime Minister Yulia Sviderenko and the new chief negotiator and deputy prime minister Kachka, and I told them we don't like it. Why is this so important? And this is for me always important because the countries can have different organization on the field of how to fight the corruption, but it has to be independent. So too much influence of the politics or politicians is never good. This is one point. The second point is we are now speaking about investing in Ukraine, about the reconstruction. We have to persuade the international financial institutions, we have to persuade private investors that Ukraine is safe to invest. If they will see that their money is not safe, I'm afraid that they will not come. And the third point, of course, it is as I have said, this is one of the fundamentals of becoming a member of the EU, and this is what we will then follow, of course.
So could this affect the European Union talks?
Not yet. You know, this is, we will see and we will talk to them, and probably we will have to also consider this in the future negotiation talks. Why? When I say fundamentals, it is so fundamental. Why? We cannot afford to get a new member into the EU which will not be on the European standards. I'm not telling that we are not having problems with corruption also inside the European Union, but we know how to fight it. And this is the ongoing fight. Meaning, you know, the membership of the EU is not protecting you, not having corruption in your own country, but being prepared, having the independent institutions is the only right way. And affecting all the other areas like public procurement, like, you know, everybody is being treated the same. So a lot to do when I speak about the anti-corruption and the whole area of judiciary.
And at the same time, Ukraine now is paying probably the highest price, just trying to conquer its right to be the European member. And this pass, we have a block of the Hungary, its political veto. How do you think, how we can conquer it, how we can fight it?
Yeah. You know, if I may say, I will fight personally the whole my mandate that Ukraine will stay on the European path and will be able to become a member of the EU. We owe this to the people of Ukraine who are also fighting for Europe, for our values. And this is not easy. You know, it is for the first time in the history that we have a candidate country, that we are negotiating with a country which is at war. Never before. Coming back to your question, the decision that Ukraine will get a candidate status was made by EU 27, including Hungary, and we will build all this. There are some topics or some policies in the European Union where not everything is is going smoothly. This is one of this, but I'm sure that we will find the solution. Because, 26 countries, among them the biggest countries of the EU, are supporting Ukraine. So I'm sure that we will be able to fulfill our vision and plan, now action plan for this year, meaning opening all the clusters for Ukraine and Moldova too.
And my question now, and I understand that fighting Russian propaganda, it's not your main responsibility in the European Union, but I think that Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation and Russian hybrid attacks, it's a big threat for Europe at all. And such services like TVP, World Services, like we with my colleagues, we are also defense of Europe. Does the European Union has a concrete plan for us, for such projects which fighting with Russian disinformation?
I agree with you completely, and this is becoming more and more also my work. Why? For the first time in the history, we are confronted with the situation that, we have a candidate country, we have member states, but now for the first time we have, I call this external disruptive forces, like Russia, who would like to see us fail. So they are ready to do everything that, let's say, Moldova, very, actual case, will not stay on the European path. So what we do now is also, first supporting media.
Do you have more details about it?
For instance, like for when we support the civil society organizations or media, for Belarus since 2020 we have given 170 million, one part also for the media. For Russia, every year between 5 and 7 million to support also the media, and we will increase this money. I go back to your question. This is crucial importance nowadays. Why? Because Russia has developed factories of lies. Lies are very cheap. You just tell a lie and then it's spreading around the social media, for instance. So we need credible sources who would tell us the truth. And I tell you, for instance, I was mentioning Moldova. It is for the first time in the history also of the EU, so many first times, that we are deploying the hybrid rapid response team in Moldova. So we have people in Chisinau who are helping the government of Moldova fighting Russian narratives. And we are studying them all the time. For instance, when I was there on the mission, we have first studied the Russian narratives, turned them around, and then I was, only with my presence, with my mission, I was fighting those narratives in the sense of, one very important is because this is, a red line in every country we see what the Russians are doing. You will lose your identity. Meaning, if Moldova will become a member of the EU, you people will lose your identity. Then I tell them the example of my country, which is smaller and has less people than Moldova. But being a member of the EU, my language, spoken only by 2.5 people in the world, is one of the official languages in the EU. Our identity is much more protected. So they are spreading the lies, and we have to fight against this.
Could the European Union consider relocating frozen funds from the Eastern Partnership Program, originally dedicated for Belarus, to support media outlets that serve Belarusian audiences, such as BELSAT TV, which operate as a part of TVP World Services?
We are now thinking how to finance or fund the media activities for those nations who actually are not living, especially not living in the democratic states, or who have been forced, like in Belarusian case, to go out. Otherwise, you would be perhaps in jail. So the funding will increase. And now with the new budget, European budget for the period from 28, we are considering, how to make those funds higher. And already now, we are supporting really a lot what is going on, or let's say we are supporting the defenders of the human rights, the media and other civil society organizations. I cannot imagine, how it is to work under these circumstances. And the same like in Russia case, in Belarus, we also have to support, who will tell the truth. And people need information to be able to get informed decisions. So we are, nearly every month, I'm now commissioner for 7 months, we somehow increase the money. The same happened for Georgia. With the decision of their government last year going away from the accession process, we stopped funding the government, so it is zero for the government and more for the civil society organizations and media.
And of course, we see that war fatigue is growing across the European societies, and Russian propaganda and far-right parties using it and just fueling the anti-Ukrainian narratives. Does the European Union have a common vision how to counter it?
The biggest question for me is now, why is Russia doing this? Russia is doing this because it's having internal problems about the credibility. I grew up in the communist system. I know, it's always the easiest way to find your enemy outside your country. So the enemies are around and we are the good one. So we know this tactic and we know how to deal with this. And, what is Russia offering today? The most important point for me is, when I was in Moldova, I also went to Gagauzia with the Russian-speaking population, where they voted more than 90% last year for pro-Russian candidates. And they all want to have our money, European money, of course, for building streets and so on. And then I asked one of the mayors, so yes, I agree, you will get also, Gagauzia will get the money. But now explain to me, what is Russia giving to you that you voted, or let's say people in your municipality voted for more than 90% for Russia? Zero! Russia is giving zero. So the main idea of Russia is destabilizing all the countries around. Why? If they will not be economically successful, if there will be no freedom of media, if there will be really, people living in poor circumstances, and if there will be no peace, it is much easier for Russia to control them. And this is the opposite what we are doing. Why is the European Union now investing, for instance, in Moldova? Why do we support Belarus and so on? And Ukraine especially. We are supporting because we want to see those countries developed. We want their people to be a part of our European community, of the community of the values. And this is what Putin really doesn't like.
But does the European Union have currently a strategy for Russia after Putin, or with Putin, but after the war?
I would say strategy. If I only go to the enlargement process is the best strategy to fight Putin. Why? Because enlargement is part of the peace project. When my country, Slovenia, and Poland become a member of the EU in 2004, we have seen this process or membership mainly through the economic glasses. But actually, the European Union has been established as a peace project. And now we are going back to this, meaning that with the enlargement process, we are doing the unification of Europe. And, once Europe will be united, not only with Ukraine and Belarusia and Moldova and the Western Balkan countries, we will be even stronger than today. We are 450 million people. We are a common market. We are based on the values and the rule of law. And this is, we've seen what this means to people. There is no rule of law in Russia. Economic development, yes, but just for a few people, for the oligarchs who really live a good life, an excellent life, and can send their children being educated abroad, but the children from the others are sent to die.
But what signals are you ready to send to Russian society, not only to Kremlin, but just people?
Yeah, I think this is very much important. First, there is a perspective. And I admire all the Russians who are already, even if it's very difficult, working against the regime. Many of them are in jail, and we help the defenders. We help the civil society organizations, now mostly outside Russia because it is too dangerous to be there. And on the other side is, what we can also tell them, who wants to live in Russia today and who wants to become a member of the EU. You know what Putin has established? Putin has actually, and this is something positive, Putin has actually caused that the attractiveness of the EU is higher than ever before. Because of Putin's war in your country, in Ukraine, we have 2 new NATO member states. We have 3 new candidate countries, and we have 2 countries which are considering applying for EU membership. So who is now attracting people? And this is the messages we should even more proceed also to the people of Russia who are against Putin.
My question is about Belarus also. Under Alexander Lukashenko regime, Belarusians live in an isolated country with partially closed borders, but despite the war and repression, many still dream of a democratic Belarus as a part of common Europe. What can the European Union offer them now?
I'm full of admiration for all those people who are really fighting for the European future. I met Svetlana Tikhanovskaya for the first time in December during the Belarusian Cultural Days in Brussels. And just yesterday, I was online talking to her and her husband, Sergei. And, I got so emotional because can you imagine, being in the jail for 5 years, coming out and still saying we have to fight even more. So what we can offer is actually the same as I was saying before. It is the hope that we will stay on your side. Of course, the money is important, so we are increasing also the money. And what we are also offering is, where do you want to live? Whom do you like to belong? And when I was asking the representatives of from people from Belarus last December, so how can you stand this all? And they told me, we really believe that one day we will become a member of the EU. So what we can do today is also working on this. The values, we are speaking again, the values about protecting lives, protecting democracy, protecting free media. So I don't know how the people are standing this pressure, especially those who are being there, but EU will never leave you alone.
And now let's shift back to Ukraine, and my next question is about reconstruction, which is always about people and foremost about people. Today, Ukrainian wartime migrants in the European Union are acting as informal ambassadors for Ukrainians' European future. How important is this human potential for Ukraine's integration into European Union and its future as a part of Europe?
I'm so happy you have mentioned this human dimension. Usually, when we speak about the reconstruction, we think about roads and buildings and...
But this is for people.
Of course, and this is why I'm so happy you asked this question, because, who will do the reconstruction of Ukraine? It will be people. Yeah, and hope a lot of Europeans too, but this human dimension is very much important. I'm so grateful to member states, especially also to Poland, to host so many refugees from Ukraine. Now there is a program. They can still stay and have a special protection until 2027. Then this will be over. So European Union, and we have a plan, will help. We will plan help with the housing, we will plan with the education, we will plan with the working places, we will plan help with the schools. So in this respect, there cannot be reconstruction without investing in people. And of course, we will do this together with the government of Ukraine. But the decision will be on the people of Ukraine, what kind of future and where they want to see the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Kos, for your answers and for your time. It was a great pleasure having you here with us today. And I just want to remind that Marta Kos, the European Commissioner for Enlargement, was our guest today in this joint interview by 3 channels, Slava TV, BELSAT and What Tak. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a nice day. Goodbye.